Hi, Abigail. How are you?
Hi, I'm well. Nice to see you and speak with
Yes,
you.
nice to see you again.
Yeah.
How are you? I mean, are we going to jump directly to e-commerce? Or are you going to share with us this amazing scenery behind you? Beautiful
Oh,
Arizona.
yeah. uh, yeah. Well, yeah, it's well, we can always do whatever you want, but I'm in Scottsdale, Arizona right now, and in front of me, I'm staring at the desert, and it's beautiful because, this is their rainy season. So the desert turns green and the flowers are blooming, and it's just really beautiful and serene. The weather's perfect here right now,
Wow.
75 during Fahrenheit during the day, and
Yeah.
cools down to like 50s at night, and yeah, it's lovely.
Okay.
It's lovely.
Nice. So do you find it more inspirational, increased creativity, better for
Yeah,
work, or more tranquility?
I,
Getting.
I feel like it balances me out. In LA, I live right by the water, and there's something about the water that is very calming to me. I'm a fire
Yes.
sign, so maybe I think, the elements of water and fire.
Yeah.
But here, there's the earth, and the earth grounds me. And so
Yes.
being able to walk outside barefoot and just kind of stand and look at the desert, and at night hearing the coyotes in the background, if we're grilling. And
Nice.
one day I was out by the pool, and I was reading, and I looked up, and there was a coyote just like feet from me.
Wow.
Just kind of looked at me and then kept walking. Like, oh
Really
yeah,
stopped and looked at you. Wow.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. And I thought, does that mean something?
Yeah, interesting, interesting.
Yeah.
So
It was
Abigail, I know you have many years of experience in e-commerce and obviously did a lot of things. Your latest role also in the luxury, department or luxury
Yeah,
products.
yeah,
So I know you have a special and unique perspective of everything that is going on, specifically also with the staffing and next generation of work, Gen
yeah,
Z. So I mean, we have I think, really interesting topics to discuss today. So, where do you want to start?
yeah. I mean, we can start with, my most recent experience at Jacques Marie Mage, which is
Hmm.
a really incredible luxury eyewear and accessories company. Jerome, the founder, is now doing this really unbelievable jewelry with, precious, semi-precious stones, and um, his attention to detail is, next to it, just far outweighs anything I've ever seen in that space. I think, he's 10 years young in his business this year, and I believe that, he will continue to grow and expand into other categories and bring his incredible detailed eye in, hopefully into handbags and other, leather goods, and, maybe one day apparel.
Wow,
I think he'll be a mainstay, and a legacy brand one day.
wow! It's really inspiring to hear from you. Such a passion about the business and your confidence in the growth. So, how it started? It started on the retail side when the e-commerce platform was launched. What's the background?
Yeah, no, he started a wholesale,
Yeah.
business, and his wholesalers. Um, I, you know, I don't want to speak for him, but from what I've learned, and being at the company, they're very important to the business because they really helped him grow and believed in the brand when it was first starting, and eventually, there was there he launched a website. And then when I started there a little over 2 years ago, we replatformed and launched. And put into place some very strategic digital marketing efforts, and a global launch strategy, which has grown the business significantly from the e-commerce standpoint. It was really perfect timing, I think. All in all, there's something to say about a founder who has such a vision and belief in a company, and a team around him that he trusts. So I think if a brand can stay true to their DNA and always, move forward knowing that, is this step true to our DNA? Is this step true to our DNA? They can be very successful. Oftentimes a brand will try to become something for everyone. And I don't necessarily know that that's the best thing for the brand, because, something gets lost there. And then like their core customer base that really helped them grow doesn't recognize them anymore, and I think that's when the customer leaves. But really, going back to the growth, it's been very on purpose, very strategic, and again, staying true to the DNA and the quality and craftsmanship. That is, a North Star.
North Star, yeah.
The company.
I assume that for luxury product, obviously limited edition, there are so much. I mean, there are so many. You need to protect the product, protect the brand, right? Right. So how? I mean, I'm sure it's like in every decision, there are where this product is going to be distributed or visible, who is beside my product. I mean, what are the things that are unique to this environment that you had to take into consideration when you launched the platform?
The voice of the brand and the copy. There's been one person who's written the copy for him since inception.
Wow.
And he his name is Andrew, and he very much knows, Jerome, and Jerome trusts him, and I think they have a really good synergy and respect for each other, and understanding that voice is really important, making sure that that voice is throughout an e-commerce platform, and that there's, that synergy all the way across, within the retail galleries, or retail stores. JMM calls them retail galleries. Other people would call them, their brick and mortar at their store.
Yes.
And, the staff in those spaces, also speak the same language, and have that level of like experience, expertise, and expectation, that, the largest store, the e-commerce store, which is the most, crowd facing, has. So everything from like the feel of the website, the way that, he chooses to shoot the images and the product, it all should, or at least, in that case, should kind of like elicit this a feeling. And I think brands who get it do it very well. And that could be from, a luxury space like JMM, or, Gucci or Louis Vuitton, or to an incredible, like beverage coffee brand like a Blue Bottle, which, I think they've done an incredible job at protecting their brand as well, and, kind of growing organically. I think it doesn't matter where I am. I I love Blue Bottle, obviously.
Yeah.
Great coffee. But I always know what I'm going to get. I know what kind of service I'm going to get. I know, that the product is going to be the same everywhere, whether I'm ordering it from their e-commerce or I'm going into, their Abbot Kinney cafe
Yeah. Yeah.
in
So
Newport Beach. Yeah.
obviously there is a messaging involved, and you mentioned there is one guy like Andrew is responsible for doing that since inception.
Yeah.
It's really amazing.
Yeah.
So and this is one aspect. The other aspect is obviously the design and the look and feel. And
Yeah.
so how do you take and how often do you change the UI UX part of? I mean, are you getting feedbacks and immediately change, or you have your own methodology, your own journey that you like consumers to be part of? Or is it like an interactive process with consumers, or just one out from your side?
With regard to like website
Yeah,
aesthetic
the
or
website, the journeys in the website, the UI UX side of things. Yeah.
yeah, I think with the redesign, it was really about flow and kind of energy of the site
Hmm.
and, having people, discover the brand or experience it. The homepage isn't a typical homepage. It's a headless website, meaning that like the front end is very customized and then the
Yeah.
back end is a Shopify platform.
Hmm.
Um, but movement was really important. Measuring how a customer is using the website is really important to, conversion and time on site. But thinking about their journey as one is building it or the content that is being put on the website is really what's important. And the best way to do that is to study the data and the analytics,
Hmm.
using heat maps, uh, seeing where, a customer is falling off the site or where they're clicking through, um, and taking note of all of those things because that's what's going to drive that business forward and take a one-time customer to a repeat customer, which
Yes.
is really a brand's goal, right? You want them to fall in love with you. You want them to have a great experience, whether they're on a website or a social media platform, getting newsletters that are carefully crafted, thinking about where you want to drive them to on the website. If you're launching a product, are you driving them to the
Yeah.
homepage? Are you driving them to new, releases? Are you driving them to bestsellers? And then what's their journey beyond that? So I think, really kind of like thinking about them and how they're using the website is really,
Yes.
vital to a business in e-commerce.
Yes. And how do you, obviously, we're currently in an age post pandemic where acquisition is so difficult, right? And retention, everyone talks about retention. There is a new wave
Yeah,
of retention titles, like the list is very, very long, and new job description are written around retention, right?
completely. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So,
yeah.
what are, how do you see this working these days? And I mean, where is the focus? Is it towards how do you acquire new customers? How do you retain existing customers? What are some of the strategies that you have in place?
Acquisition, there's different. If I look at my experience and I think about like the different kinds of brands that I've been at, right?
Mhm.
So, I was at Forever 21 for almost 4 years, and that's fast fashion. And that is, customer acquisition is run differently. They're from maybe a space that's um, a contemporary or young designer price point, and then you have a luxury price point. And acquisition to me is, yes, it's important. Yes, it's expensive, but you know, It's what happens after the initial acquisition. That's where the retention comes
Got
in.
it.
And
Sure.
that's when people start talking about customer lifetime value and what that means to, your bottom line. My first mentor, her name was Sari Asher. Sari taught me it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep.
Wow. Nice.
And
Not how much you make, it's how much you keep. Yeah, it's like the difference between cash flow and free cash flow, right?
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
completely, right? So then
Yeah.
you're talking about like
It's nice.
you have like your gross revenue and you have your net revenue. And a business really their worth is going to be run off of what they're keeping. So yes, of course, some people look at it at how much their top line is driving, but really, a value is what's left at the end of the day. And that to me is a lot like digital marketing. That's how I think about it. I think about what is this customer? Are they coming back? How do we make them come back? And after the initial, visit to site, like how are we dating
Yeah.
them?
Yeah.
What does
Sure.
that journey look like? Like we can't physically take them to dinner, but how can we, follow up? It's not necessarily like I don't like when a brand bombards me with emails. You left this in your cart. Yes, the abandoned cart email flow works sometimes, but I think that's the most effective in spaces with maybe a lower AOV, like
Yeah.
that, that average order value.
Mm-hmm.
So a luxury brand. I I don't really know if that customer is like opening that email going, oh my gosh, I need to hurry up and go back and buy this item.
Yeah.
Sometimes that works, like we did see some conversion through that tactic at JMM, but I wouldn't say that, maybe it worked there because it's limited edition,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Um, it doesn't really work on like a repeat customer because they know the brand and they understand it.
Mm-hmm.
But really, it's loyalty programs. I think even the most savvy customer or whether you're talking about a fast fashion customer or a luxury customer, they want to feel special. They want to feel like their loyalty to the brand matters. And if they do feel that way, then they're likely to be that repeat customer instead of the one-time customer where that cost of acquisition just continues to go up and up and up and up.
Sure.
There's one brand I was talking to, and they're in the fitness space, and they have a product that has a lifetime warranty. Well, when you have a lifetime warranty, what's your repeat customer base look like?
Wow. Yeah.
Right? So unless there's a different product offering outside of their main product, then that customer doesn't have a reason to come back because, their, product X is going to last a lifetime.
Yeah.
And so it's thinking about like if we're doing this really, really well, what kind of product can we layer onto, product X and build out like Y and Z and, keep going. But really doing it like thoughtfully and intentionally and not jumping from, a pair of really beautiful handmade frames to, luggage.
Yes.
Like that doesn't make sense. But I
Doesn't make
think,
sense. Yeah.
yeah, I think I like what made really amazing, sense. And also that customer journey is if, JMM has huge collectors. There are people with, 50, 60, 70 frames. So if they want to continue to purchase there, what else is going to be limited edition and really special and really amazing? And every time they're going to put it on, they're going to just feel, that luxury and the exceptional quality and be really proud to wear that item.
Yes.
And that's where, his jewelry came in, because it coordinates. It's, he's very inspired by Art Deco, and, there's
No, that
beautiful Art Deco, designs that are all part of that jewelry journey.
yes, and that makes a lot of sense, right? And so I'm very, very interested in the persona. I mean, who is buying? What are the characteristics, demographics? Who is buying the product? How the time to purchase or customer journey looks like usually.
Well, I think of the data and the analytics, when I go
Mhm.
here, because I think of, male versus female ratio. And I think about, 18 to 24, 25 to 34, 35 to, all of the Google analytics that gets spit out, and who's on the website. I think, initially a brand like JMM, launched with a kind of a masculine feel, but has intentionally put a more like female voice to the brand too, with regards to special women's collections
Mhm.
and, choices of models or campaigns that are shot and put out through the digital space. Um, and that customer, if I think about like building a campaign, what are they? It's usually like luxury cars, luxury watches, um, their, real estate, businesses, business owners, entrepreneurs.
Mhm.
I think, but you kind of have that luxury customer that you can build out from a digital marketing perspective. And yes, they are a luxury customer, but also there's aspirational customers too, right? And maybe one pair of JMMs or one luxury, handbag is, that's their big purchase. And then they're part of that community,
Mhm.
and they're part of that brand. And, a one-time customer is just as important as a repeat customer, even because they're a customer and they're a fan. And if they have a great experience, then they're going to move forward and they're going to talk about their great experience. And that's the best way to also grow a brand.
Yes.
I think, I can't remember like the statistic specifically, but let's just say if a person has a really bad experience, they're going to tell 10 people, but if they have a good experience, you're going to tell 1 to 2 people.
Correct.
So making sure the touch points and the experience of the customer is aligned across, e-commerce, social media, newsletters that are being sent out, and within the retail spaces is really important, because you don't know when they're going to convert. Luxury customer is going to take a little longer to convert than a fast fashion customer.
Yeah. Sure. And what do you find? You find that most of the shoppers or visitors are coming from a word of mouth, or they know the brand and are looking for product, or just they saw an ad and direct them to the platform. What are the how do
Yeah,
you generate traffic?
I think with JMM, it was, 2 years ago when I had started with the company. I think it was very word of mouth, because they did almost no marketing at all.
Wow.
It was
Okay.
wholesale and it was word of mouth, and it was intentional, maintaining that sense of luxury and limited edition mystery. If you knew the brand, you knew the brand. If you didn't, you didn't. You know, the name isn't on the outside of the frames. It's like very beautifully,
Okay.
you know, put on the inside of the frame in gold or silver. Um, and that was intentional, uh, because that's how he wanted to grow. And then, you know, the growth, the growth without any marketing was amazing. And then when we did start to put marketing dollars behind it, and there was a lot of celebrities that, you know, knew the brand. There was, you know, celebrities, athletes, Formula One drivers. When they, you know, there was movie placements, TV placements where, you know, the product wasn't gifted. You know, people were buying it organically.
Yeah.
And then all of those things kind of drive people to the site. And I think, you know, the partnerships and collaborations that Jerome has chosen to um, have have also driven customers and popularity. You know, a Stanley Kubrick collaboration, or you know, and a lot of brands do this too. You know, the collaborations will bring fans of both sides together, and then that helps, you know, fill the customer funnel in an intentional way. And then those customers, if the collaboration is right, will be a repeat customer with the brand.
Yeah.
You know, if it's not a if it's not a collaboration that makes sense to the brand, then it doesn't work. It's pointless. Then, you know, it was a bad decision.
Yes. Yes. No, today also it's an amazing organic, you know, activity. But again, it should be the right match, right? Otherwise, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
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 So you mentioned some of the shoppers and the ages. Seems to me, you know, that we have Gen Zs also as a customers and consumers, and Gen Zs are now becoming like a major part of the acquisition or the purchasing side. I think representing more than 30% already from the total shoppers. And obviously we are hiring also Gen
Yeah.
Zs, right? To our team. So this probably a way for us to adapt, to change, to learn. I guess there are a lot of things that are happening during this process that are maybe challenging and requires more adaptations and learnings, right?
It does. And I think adaptations is the operative term here.
Yeah.
Because um, it's a dinner, it's all different different perspectives. And you look at millennial, you look at Gen Z, you look at Gen X, like all three of those generations are in the workplace now. There's really funny memes and like videos on TikTok about the differences in how they work, where, you know, a manager might, you know, email in and say, I need you to do this. And the Gen X is like, oh, okay, let me mute my phone and, you know, let me get this done real quick. Or, you know, oh, I got to take this. And, you know, they're quickly just getting it done. And then,
Yeah.
you know, a millennial is going to be like a little bit more, you know, they're a little, I feel like they're more, I don't want to say thoughtful, but, you know, they handle the task in a different way, where a Gen Z is like, this is outside of the work time. Like this is
Wow. Yeah.
encroaching on my personal space and my personal time. And so then my work life balance is off.
It's off. And it wasn't part of the job description you shared with
Right,
me
right, right, right.
18 months ago.
Yeah, this isn't my job description.
Yeah.
Where a Gen X will be like, okay, well, I guess this wasn't in my job description, but it needs to be done. And so I'll just lean in and do it. And I think
Yeah.
there's some part of the millennials too that will do that. But Gen Z, somewhere along the line, has been taught that it's not in their job description. And they do want that clarity. Um,
hmm
And I don't blame them. Like, it's okay to want the clarity, but also just like the interviewing process and like how they interview and the questions they ask. Or, I had one person that I was hiring for a position, and we made it through 3 interview process, and then she said, can I come shadow you at the office, just to make sure that I feel good in the culture, and it resonates with me.
Yeah.
And we talked about it, senior leadership, and we were kind of like, that's not a great sign.
Not a great sign for us. Something is wrong with us, probably. Oh, with
That
her,
you
yeah.
feel like
Yeah.
things or something one day, and then maybe you're going to be like, I don't know, I'm feeling a little animosity in the office, and it's like,
Yeah.
disturbing my chi, and I need to take a day off.
Something with the vibes here is not
Right? Yeah, the vibes are all
s-
off.
are off. Yeah.
Yeah, but I was reading the other day, and they said 55% of Gen Zs ask about a company's the company's culture, their lifestyle, what their work life and lifestyle is going to look like. But in addition to that, they're also asking about what is the brand's environmental impact? What is their diversity inclusion look
Inclusion,
like?
yeah.
And do they have any social justice policies in place? And I feel like that is a very amazing perspective when going into a company. I think it's really healthy, because brands should be concerned with all of those things. And if over half of the Gen Z workforce is asking these kind of questions,
Yes.
and imagine what that's going to look like. And I'm kind of pivoting a little bit here, but what that's going to look like as they continue to grow as shoppers and purchasers, and the brands that they're going to um, align with and become the repeat purchasers of those brands. And what are those brands doing in order to become better?
Yes.
Better impact on our world, better impact on diversity, inclusion, social practices. Yeah, I mean, I think that there's something to say about that perspective. I
Hmm.
think, from a management point of view, I've had to learn to improve my soft skills, as one says,
Okay.
in order to manage millennial and Gen Z, because it's like when I enter the workforce, you know, I- I'm Gen X, but I'm a younger Gen X, so I understand, like, when the millennials came in, they wanted a seat at the table. They wanted the transparency, they want to learn, they want to, and I share that 100%. Um, and Gen Z is even like above and beyond that. They I don't want to get myself into too much trouble here, but I do think that a person needs to earn their stripes and learn
Yes.
on the way, because with, they might think a task or, something I ask them to do is, I can't believe she's asking me to do this. But there's a reason I'm asking them to do it. And it's usually to learn something, and so that they can build on their skill sets,
Yeah.
and, if somebody goes to college and studies whatever business, and then immediately gets their MBA without any work experience, and comes into a company thinking that they can do the job of their boss, that's not necessarily the true, because they don't have the business acumen, yet. but it doesn't mean they're not going to be a fast learner, or
Yes.
maybe do it in half the time with the way that technology is, and the expectations of that generation coming into the workplace, because they are very kind of in your face about learning and transparency.
Yes. I mean, I fully agree. They are very social sensitive. Um, Diversity, inclusion is very, very important for them. They don't like too much power in the same place. So, like,
Yeah.
they are running away from Amazon, for example. They're looking for alternatives. That's another important thing. For example, and I know that they are changing jobs in a very, very
Quick.
uh,
Yeah.
quick
Year,
update, and
less than a
18
year.
months, 20 months, whatever is the average right now, because they are developing their own skill set, which is good for them and will take them to the next level. But they also respect there is a time that they need to relax and not to work. And like this work-life balance is something that comes natural for them. Maybe because also, they grew up with the iPhone in their hands, right? So they need, it's I think it's a different thing that we need to understand. And it's also they get hired not only from like really data driven success stories, right? I raised this and this number of I raised the conversion rates or I increased sales or whatever. It's a lot of soft skills and capabilities that are important in hiring today. And I hear a lot of, let's call them Gen X's, like the dinosaurs, right? So they are like, I got hired because I'm amazing and like I'm a Six Sigma expert and I'm operationally operationally, savvy, and I know how to do things. But fine, right now it used to be 100% important, but now it's 50% important, right? You need
Yeah.
to have other skills that you need to possess, right? So obviously you said it's encourage you to look at your management skills, obviously, and update your soft skills and all that. So that's I think a process that we all needs to do, right? That's
Yeah.
definitely the case. And can you give maybe an example, or what do you mean by soft skills?
Well, I think, empathy and compassion
Mm-hmm.
are two things that, I kind of, I think when I started my career, would leave at the lease line before I came into work,
Mm-hmm.
because it was, put my head down and drive forward. Um, but then I had to learn to lift my head up in order to be a better manager and to build relationships with my team, um, on a personal level, not like, you're sharing your deepest, darkest secrets with them, but
No.
it's also creating space for them to, come to you, to, in this case, me, and say, hey, I've got this going on, and, I need a day off, or can I leave early because of, you know, I have this personal thing, or, and me noticing when somebody's a little bit off their game, or they look sad, or they look stressed, and taking space and having that one-on-one with them and saying, do you have too much on your plate? Do you need help? Do we
Mm-hmm.
need to, you know, reorganize for you? And when I was at, I would say my time at Forever 21 really helped me kind of grow in that way too, where, I had a really large team there. There was, about 26 people, and I had slowly built that business up. And there, there were a lot of times where, somebody was afraid to come to me because I'm such a driver. And then when I did lift my head and started looking at people, and being more compassionate, a compassionate leader, um, I could have those conversations. I remember with my production team once, it was, I didn't realize that, one person had like a significant amount of SKUs that they were trying to do the production for. And so we all met and then we rebalanced things and then everybody was happier, or,
Yeah.
anything like that that's going on in the team.
Yeah. But
Creating that space is really important. And I think somebody now needs to know that there is an open door policy. Mrs. Chang, who was the founder at the time of, at Forever 21, during that time when I was there, she had an open door policy. There were like over 1,000 people in,
wow.
our headquarters, and I could just walk into her office at any time and say, "Hey, I'm having a problem with this," or "I'm making, can you help me with this?" And she would just stop and look up. And if somebody with that kind of power and the intense workday can just stop for a minute, it makes all the difference. And then it taught me to stop, and it taught me to listen, and it taught me to not be distracted when somebody came and asked me a question, to be a better listener.
Yeah. So actually, we are still in a industry which is data driven, results, growth, profitability. Nothing has changed on that respect, right?
Right.
But I guess the way to achieve those targets maybe has evolved, right? Or more.
100%.
That's the idea. We are not saying we are less ambitious or we have less demands from ourselves and from the company and from the result, but we probably need to learn how to do it in a different way, which is more maybe a better way to what we're
Yeah.
used to. And in that respect, I think it's important for me to hear a perspective of how you see AI comes into this picture, right? Because AI is also, from one side, can changing the future of work, right, and
Mhm.
staffing. It also helps, expedite a lot of things. Probably, you know, encourage companies to become more software oriented or tech oriented. What are your thoughts about AI in e-commerce?
I think it's an essential part of e-commerce.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think people should be embracing it fully, if they're not already. It's evolving faster than anything I've ever seen. We are in a place where, like, if somebody is building an e-commerce site, one of the first questions they should be asking as they start to integrate software is, how is this company, how are they embracing AI? How are they integrating AI? How can their AI tools help, the e-commerce company grow? And, when I think of AI, I think of not just like data analytics, but I think of personalization and um, retention,
Mm-hmm.
because retention is, that there's that word again. It's
Yes, I told you it's coming from all over.
I know, totally. I just had somebody ask me to do a project for them where I was, they said go through our platform and our tech stack and see what we can be optimizing and or change in order to integrate AI more, but the end result being improving CLTV. So, and all of that goes
Mm-hmm.
again back down to your, net contribution margins.
Got it. Yeah.
There's, I use Chat GPT all the time. I think there's pros and cons.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody is in, elementary school through high school, leaning on AI to, help them do things. My fear is that it's going to take away critical thought, um, because it's very easy to, hey, I need to write a thank you to so and so for X, Y, and Z, and like within a second or 2 seconds, there's a beautifully written
Yes.
email or letter. And then, now there's a humanized GPT, which I actually am not that impressed with. That's supposed to kind of take away any of the sounds of, that AI wrote, whatever it
Hmm.
is. But I don't really think it works that well.
Okay.
And then, again, there's like search software, like companies like Algolia that have really great, AI technologies from a personalization standpoint.
Hmm.
There's, you know, I'll be anxious to see what Microsoft is going to look like once all of their AI is completely rolled out,
Hmm.
and what that's going to do to,
Yeah.
Excel, Google Sheets, from that kind of number crunching standpoint. There's companies out there that, finance departments and CFOs can use right now in order to pull together their data and organize reporting, finance reporting. It's like, of course, there's BI solutions out there, but, everybody kind of has a BI solution. But really, like, how are companies going to take this and kind of pull that into their own ethos? And is that going to take away jobs? That's a big fear.
Hmm.
I think right now, probably not. But I think when hiring, one of the things that, I'm going to be asking is what's your familiarity with AI? Are you using it? Have you used it before? And I will probably opt for the person who is using AI and is excited about it versus not.
Cool.
And I think, like, from e-commerce, I don't want to speak for other, industries, but I'm 100% going to ask somebody about whether or not they're passionate about AI, and
Yes.
if they're, using it, and how are they using it, and, how would they use it if they were to, get a position as a, e-commerce analyst or whatever.
Yes. About AI, I have also an interesting questions for you. Okay. So when do you think we will see the first $1 billion valuation company operated by one employee or one founder?
Oh gosh, I don't know. That's such a
No,
great
it's okay. No one knows. Give me your best guess.
one business, one founder, $1 billion. I mean, I think it depends on what it is, right? Do they like is
I guess they're using a lot of AI tools.
they're using a lot of AI tools? What does that look like? Um,
By the way, it's not a dream. There are a lot of founders that are already operating and selling tens of millions of dollars. But I'm asking about that $1 billion figure.
I mean, I almost feel like it would end up being in the medical field.
Wow. Okay. Okay. Interesting.
I don't know what it is yet, but I think
Timing. Time.
time. Okay, it's 2024. I would say by 2030,
2030. 6 years. Okay.
depending on
Okay.
what it is. Like, I really
Yes.
want to say 10 years, but I'm saying that
Yes.
because this is moving so fast, but it's really going to come down to what is
Yes.
it that they're selling, what is the product, and how scalable is it, right? So I think
Correct. Yeah.
about scalability,
Hmm.
and consistency of quality, and really, it's like the operations and logistics behind it. So I don't know. Is it cloud based? Is it, I think of like radiology and what AI is going to do to radiology. And then I think of the
Hmm.
radiologists.
Yeah.
Like,
Oops.
like
Yeah.
if AI, I don't know. I think it's somewhere in the medical field.
Okay. Okay. Abigail, great. What are you proud of in your career?
Yeah, I was talking to someone recently and they said, "What are you most proud of?" They kind of asked me the same question. And I
Hmm.
said, "I hope I haven't experienced it yet. I hope it's
Wow.
yet to come."
Nice. Love it. Nice.
Yeah, I really do.
Very creative. Nice one.
Thanks.
And also, this is the part where I ask you about a fun fact about yourself.
Yes, fun facts. Well, you also said, "What's a fun fact that nobody knows about you?"
Exactly.
Because
You're
I can,
higher.
right, I can tell you like the fun facts, hobbies, kind of those kind of things that I like to do. Um, I love reading, right? And so after being in the fashion industry for so long and starting my career working in like brick and mortar to, working in vertical fashion and like actually making and designing and working with teams to e-commerce, I I thought and having these conversations with all of my friends who've been in this industry forever.
Hmm.
It's such a crazy ride. And there's so many people that we've all experienced who, some of them great, some of them super not great, some of them straight out of like a movie where like you wouldn't even believe the stories of like one founder I worked for who used to like kick boxes and throw things off of shelves and yell at
Wow.
the buyers and say, "You're lucky you have a job. The unemployment line is so long." And he was just so abusive. And like we laugh about it now, but during the time it was really horrible experience.
Yes. Yes.
But you know, I I sat down one day and said, "Why am I in this industry? Like, why am I doing this to myself on a daily basis?" And I think,
Yeah.
and then I brought that up to a couple of friends, and they're like, "I know. Why do we do this to ourselves?" And then we kind of talked about like our upbringings and like our families and the experiences maybe we had as like children and what kind of person does it take and where do they have to come from in order to stay in this business for 20 years?
Hmm.
And so I started writing it down. And I started writing down my experiences in
Wow.
fashion, but kind of tying them into upbringing or what that looks like. My mom's side is Italian, and so they're loud and they're yelling all the time and everything's passionate. And my dad's side is Assyrian and Irish, and there's like passion there too, but it's kind of like done at a different level. Um, but there's a lot of kind of intensity and drive there, and a lot, and there's a ton of love on both sides, right? So it's, looking at all of those things and childhood experiences and saying, like, why would I stay at a place where there's so much chaos and the founder is just like, you know, one minute he's like, you're amazing. And then the next minute, you look over and he's like throwing stuff off a shelf on top of a young woman trying to merchandise the store, or working, 7 days a week, 12 hours a day, and being on salary. And, where does that work ethic comes from? And, having two parents who worked really, really hard and having them as examples. And, never knowing, and I think that's where like putting the head down comes from, right?
Mhm.
Different generation.
Yes.
And then, having to learn how to soften my skills. But I'm writing all of that down now. and writing a book.
Wow. So do I hear a book is coming? Is
I don't know,
cooking?
I don't know when it's coming, but I have been slowly writing it.
Wow. So this is probably an official announcement
Oh
here?
yeah, I think maybe.
Wow.
Oh yeah, yeah. Now you're putting pressure on me. But,
You know, a public announcement is a different level of commitment,
yes.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, but it is something that like I thought about for a long time. And it's like not from like, the Devil Wears Prada fashion perspective, but really kind of having like a human element to it, and thinking about what is it about the craziness and the chaos that would draw somebody to this business.
Yeah.
A lot of people will talk to me, younger women or men, and say like, oh, this it must be so amazing, and isn't it cool that you're in fashion? And anybody who's been in it for like 10 or 15 more years, you kind of just look at them and go, you have no idea. Like it's such a schlock.
Yeah. But it looks very nice from outside, right?
But yeah, it's like peek once you like peek behind the curtain,
Yes. Yes.
it can be a huge disaster. But there's also something in my DNA that makes me love it and makes me want to do it
Nice.
and be involved and passionate about the industry.
Great. I'm looking forward for the first release.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Not saying, not putting any pressure, but I hope it'll be this year. Yes. Wow. Great. Abigail, anything you want to add?
Oh, I mean, no, I mean, I think, I'm excited to see where this business and this industry is going. I'm excited, to see the evolution of it. One of the things that I do love right now, uh, as a consumer, is seeing global brands coming into the United States
Mm-hmm.
and kind of disrupting here. I think that that's important. I think it's fresh. Uh, I look forward to kind of the global footprint more domestically.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think it'll help U.S. fashion evolve a little bit more and stay on their toes some, because I think some brands are a little comfortable, um, just reading about Nike reorganizing, and that they're cutting, 2 billion off of their expenses in order to reorganize their company because they've seen losses, and
Mm-hmm.
European brands in shoe wear and active coming in and disrupting a behemoth like that to where they're taking note. I think is really interesting too. Um,
Interesting.
yeah, I look forward to seeing where the business goes.
Great. So probably it's a good summary. I really appreciate the time. Thank
Yeah,
you so much. It's
thank
really a
you.
pleasure.
Very, very fun. Very fun.
Bye bye, Abigail. See you
Bye.
soon.
Okay, sounds good.